welcome back to my channel. So today is NCLEX business, okay? I know I've been posting a lot about the NCLEX, and to all of my nursing friends, I'm sure y'all appreciate this content. To all of my non-nursing friends, this is my last NCLEX video, okay? I promise. And then, so basically, let me tell y'all what the NCLEX is. So once you go through nursing school, you have to, you can graduate and now you're considered a graduate nurse, okay? So you completed all the education requirements and now you are a graduate nurse. But in order to be an official nurse, like a registered nurse or a licensed nurse, you have to take an exam, which is like your state boards, and you have to pass that exam, and then you become official and you get your license. And then some places let you work as a graduate nurse with stipulations that, okay, within like a month or 2 months, you will take your NCLEX, pass your NCLEX. Some places don't let you work as a graduate nurse. You can get a job before you take your NCLEX and secure that job. But then again, if you fail your NCLEX, then most times you will have to give that job up, and then they'll hire somebody who has already passed their NCLEX and is ready for the job. So yeah, that's pretty much what the NCLEX is. And it's basically a test that tests you on how safe are you? Are you going to kill somebody, or are you going to maintain safety and keep them alive? Basically, are you going to educate them on the right things or on the wrong things? That's pretty much what the NCLEX is in a nutshell. So yeah, as promised, I told y'all I was going to bring y'all an NCLEX video on what to expect, how to prepare, and I'm gonna just keep that all in one video, okay? So this will be my last NCLEX video. So how to pass your NCLEX on the first try, okay? So number one, you have to make sure that you're studying from day one, okay? So you know you want to go to nursing school, you've taken your T's, you've applied to nursing school, and this doesn't matter. Now this goes for LPN and RN, okay? LPN and RN, you got to do the same things, okay? So you've gotten your acceptance, and you know you're going to start on March 1st, okay? I'm just coming up with a date. March 1st, you start school. So in order to prepare, you're getting everything that you need, okay? All your school supplies, your pen, your paper, your computer, whatever you may need for school. And so your first day that you go to school, most schools, you're gonna jump in. Y'all gonna have a lecture on the first day. They already have an orientation day where you do all the housekeeping stuff. But your first day of lecture, you need to go and you need to be ready, okay? You gotta, shift your mindset, okay? Train your mind to say, okay, I am learning this from NCLEX. Even though you may not take NCLEX a year from now, a year and a half, 2 years from now, you still need to train your mind okay, I'm learning this for the NCLEX, because essentially that's what you're doing, okay? So you want to study from day one. The content that they're going over with you, make sure you have a good note-taking strategy, okay? For me, I started out in my program, so when I did my LPN program, I wrote out everything. I was a writer, okay? That's how it stuck for me. When I got to my RN program, 8 years later, I started out writing, but then it was I'm listening to them so I know what to write and looking at the PowerPoint. But how many times do you try to write your notes and they click on to the next slide and they talking about the next thing, and now you got to skip down on your paper? I absolutely hate that. So what I did for my note taking was I started copying and pasting my PowerPoints and pasting them into a document, a Word document in an outline form the night before. And then I go back and I just add in my notes as I'm sitting in lecture while also recording my lecture. And then whatever I don't get, I still go back and I listen to my lecture before test day. And so I have that repetition. One, I've seen the information when I'm copying and I'm pasting. Two, I see the information again when I'm sitting in my lecture. And I'm hearing her or him go over the lecture, and I'm typing in my keynotes. And then 3, I'm also going back and listening to it again to make sure that I have everything for the lecture. And then 4, on test day, I'm reading over those notes. So I got my repetition a lot. So that's what worked for me, okay? Other people in my class, I know some people studied just from Quizlet. And that's what worked for them. Some people had to write out their notes. Some people had to draw out their notes and draw out acronyms and things like that, like to help them remember. So you just gotta find what works for you. Me, I don't need all of the colors and all of that stuff. Like, just give me the information, what I need to know, and let me study that. And that's how I study. So yeah, number one, study from day one of nursing school. Number two, make sure you find your way to take notes. And two, stay organized with your notes, okay? The next thing you want to do, you want to find you a study partner, okay? So you can find a study partner or you can find a study group. When you get in nursing school, you find a new best friend and y'all gonna talk about everything together. Y'all hopefully will study together and help each other out. So you have to get a study group. If you are a person where you like to self-study a lot, that's fine. But I'm telling you, it will only help you if you find a study group, because the way that different people like explain things, it'll help you get it, okay? And like your teacher can say it one way, and then like you and your study group and one of the members of your study group explain it this way, then another member explain it this way, boom, and now the light bulb goes off and now you got it. So that's why I say I love study groups. I did study groups in my prereqs. I did study groups in nursing school. Like, I love study groups. But in our study group, we wasn't messing around. Like, we came here to study, whether we studied for 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever. But we made sure we stayed on track, okay? The next thing you want to do, make sure you're doing questions weekly, okay? Like, every week, you need to be doing questions. So in the beginning, when you first start out, and y'all going over these different subject matters, like in the beginning it'll probably be fundamentals of nursing, but you still, if you like, you still want to make sure you're doing questions. Like, start anywhere from 50 to 100 questions a week, okay? It doesn't matter if you get them wrong, but make sure you do the questions, okay? My school, we had what was called Prep You questions in our course point. I think those questions are great. NCLEX questions to study with, and I use those to study. A lot of people throughout my program did those questions. There's certain books that you can buy online to use as well, and you can kind of go through those books. Also, I know one book was Saunders. I personally didn't buy the book, but a lot of people in my class bought the book, was Saunders, and they loved it. I'm trying to think what else. A lot of people use, I think it's called like NCLEX RN. It's an app and they give questions. You can pay for it. It's like an orange and blue and white app. That's highly recommended. Me, I'm not gonna go out and spend all this extra money like on other stuff. Like, I'm just gonna use what my program gives me to use, because I don't know, I just don't like spending all that extra money. But yeah, fine. I'm sure it's a lot of free websites out there. If you use ATI, I loved ATI. But if you use ATI, you can do ATI questions. Just find something to do questions with, okay? Next, you want to make sure when you're studying, okay, so you've gotten through your first 3 to 5 lectures, and now you got your first exam, okay? So when you're studying for that exam, don't just study to memorize that information. You want to make sure you're studying this information to know this information, because even though you're learning this in the beginning of your program, the middle of your program, the end of your program, you can still see that stuff on your NCLEX. So don't study to memorize just to pass your school exam. Make sure you're studying to embed it in your mind, so that way you know it for your NCLEX exam. Because you don't want to just memorize stuff and then when you get to the end, now you're going back and you're trying to relearn it for NCLEX. That's the big no, okay? So make sure from day one, like exam one, you're studying to learn it, not to memorize it, okay? If you are an LPN and you're bridging to RN, I'm going to say this. A lot of people, I've heard a lot of people say, like, because they were an LPN, that they didn't do so well in school because they took like the things that they did in practice as an LPN and tried to apply those. And this is what I'll say about that. You have school/NCLEX world nursing, and then you also have real world nursing. You have to know how to separate the two. Yes, you can apply some things, but you can't apply everything. So you have to just kind of know what to apply and what not to apply. So me, for example, I would think like back on like medications, like I already knew certain things, like when it came to kind of like those triage questions, because I worked in an emergency room and I already knew the things to do. So in my sense, it helped me. It didn't hurt me at all. It helped me. But I will say, as an LPN, number one thing that you can do for yourself is to just humble yourself, okay? Humble yourself, be ready and willing to learn, and just try your best to just push everything that you already had in your mind, just push that out of your mind, and just know when to use it, okay? And if you're new to nursing, then I'm gonna say, like you've done your prereqs, you've never worked in a hospital, you've never worked in a nursing home or anything like that, you've never been a medical assistant or nothing, like you're new to healthcare completely. If you are, I'm gonna tell you, you have to learn your time management. You're gonna feel like you gotta know this book, everything that's in your book from front to back. I'm telling you, you're not gonna know all of those things. The best thing that you can do is listen to your teachers and take the information that they tell you. Now, if they tell you you need to go read these chapters and do all this stuff, do it, but don't get so caught up on it. It's good to read it, take your notes, and then just take what you need from it. You're gonna feel like you need everything, but I will tell you, if your teachers teach from a PowerPoint, then use that PowerPoint as where you need to start, okay? Because your teachers, like depending on your school, like for example, my school, they had like a 99% pass rate, NCLEX pass rate. Me, I didn't use my books at all. Like I literally just went by my PowerPoints. Now, I'm not telling you to do what I do, but if you use that PowerPoint as a starting point, and then if there's something that you don't understand, go in the book and read the book, or go to YouTube or whatever to try to get to understand it. But don't waste your time like spending hours and hours and hours and hours reading your book, okay? Like you gotta just know how to use your time management, okay? You're gonna have to learn your time management. And just remember that NCLEX is a safety test, okay? Like I said in the beginning, it's a safety test. So when you're doing those NCLEX questions, starting from day one, those practice questions, make sure you're reading your rationales, and that's gonna help you understand a lot, okay? That's gonna help you understand a lot. Another thing that's number one that you wanna make sure that you do in order to pass your NCLEX, but we're gonna rewind all the way back, in order to make sure you pass every class on your first attempt, okay? You want to make sure that you take advantage of any resources that you may have. So if you, for example, fail an exam or you're not doing well in a subject, don't be ashamed or don't hesitate to reach out to your instructors. Don't be ashamed to get tutoring. Like your school should have some type of resources that you can take advantage of. So you want to make sure that you do that, okay? So if you're struggling at any point, like the first exam, just get help, or whatever exam, wherever you notice that you're struggling, make sure that you get help, okay? So that way you can avoid not passing a class and, you know, just delaying your success. So that's pretty much in a nutshell how you can pass your NCLEX on the first try. The main thing is studying from day one, okay? Now, I want to show y'all what I used to study my NCLEX, and I'm going to tell y'all my method that I used once I got to the end of my program, and now it's like, okay, now I'm just waiting for my NCLEX. So throughout my program, like I said, I studied my notes, and that was that. And I kept a very organized note-taking process. I made sure, like, on my titles, like, I just put something in there, and so that way when I go on my computer, I can just type it in and pull up those notes. Okay, y'all, so I have a few books for y'all. So, one, let me say this. I just went to go look for my computer, and I'm pretty sure my computer got stolen out of my car, which is not good. I told y'all I literally got assignments that I have to do, but lucky for me, I have a Chromebook, so all I gotta do is log in with my ID, and I'll be good. My Gmail or whatever, but I'm not happy about it. But why stress about it? Like, all I can do is file a police report, and that's that. So yeah, a Nintendo Switch and a laptop got stolen out of my car, which is just crazy. But anyway, nonetheless, this is NCLEX business, so I'm sorry that I cannot show y'all my notes. I was gonna show y'all like an outline of how I did my notes and all of that stuff, but maybe in another video. So yeah, 3 books that I have, okay? So here's 2, all right? I got both of these books off of Amazon. Now, let me tell you about this book. So I got this book because we had to do a HESI as our exit exam, which was like our NCLEX predictor, okay? I brought this book because I said during my program I was going to use this book to study and, you know, make sure I score good on my HESI and stuff like that, to make sure essentially I score good on my NCLEX. Well, y'all, I only got through literally the first 2 chapters of this book, okay? The first 2 chapters, and I would highlight, the book was a good book from what I read. So I know some people said they was going to use this to study, and again, don't mind my nails, y'all. Some people said they was going to use this to study, but this book has good information. But you will, with this book, it doesn't have multiple choice questions, I don't think. It's all like review questions at the end of the chapter. So yeah, it's all like review questions at the end of the chapter. If you can see, like right here. And that's it. There's no multiple choice questions, but there are answers. So if you like to study like that, then this could be a good book for you. But this covers everything that's on the NCLEX, okay? And this is the HESI 7th edition. I got this off of Amazon probably for like $30 to $50. I can't really remember, okay? I also have this book. I brought this book early on and said I was going to use it. Now this book does have like, it says 600 test questions and detailed answers. I did try to go through this book when I was studying for my NCLEX. However, I did not like the test questions that they gave. It does have multiple choice, but a lot of the questions I didn't like how they were asked. And I think I paid $30 to $50 for this book, and I did not use it. But it had good reviews on Amazon, so you know, I honestly don't even know how the book, I'm pretty sure it's set up by subject. So yeah, this could be a tool that you can use. Looking in the table of contents, it's not set up by like disease process or nothing like that, but yeah, so here's another book that you can use. Go on Amazon, look at your reviews, see if it's something that you like. And then the last thing that I use, so remember I said keep your notes organized, okay? I honestly, when I was studying for my NCLEX, I did not reference my notes except for one time, and that was my oncology notes. The only thing I used to study was this book right here. So, which brings me to my next point. This is Hearst, and we had a 3-day live review that we did with Hearst, okay? Now this book, this is what I would tell you to study. Now, your school should include some type of 3-day review or live review at the end. You should get a workbook where you have to work through it. Essentially, I think that's really all you need to study if you have been studying from day one. This is all you will need to study, because this is literally all I studied. Like, I promise you, this is all I studied. And so I use this to review my content because I love this book. It breaks stuff down for you, like acid-base balance was one thing that, like, in school, like, I always miss my acid-base balance questions, like, because I was like, I just don't get it. But when they went through it in this book, I was like, really, that's it? Like, that's all it is? Like, I love this book. And it gives you test taking tips. Like, you have to go through it and fill it out, you know, and it gives you test taking strategies. And I will say, I saw a lot of this content was on the exam, okay? Now, this is not a paid, like, they not paying me to tell y'all to use this book, okay? But I'm telling you, this is what I told all of my friends to study, because this is what I studied, okay? I did this, and then I used Prep U. And I basically, what I did, my NCLEX study method was I went through this book, like, by subject. So, for example, this is fluid and electrolytes. So I read all the way through fluid and electrolyte, and then I went to Prep U and I did 150 questions on just fluid and electrolytes. And that's what I did. I went to my next section, Burns, did 150 questions on burns. I did oncology, cardiac, neuro, maternity, GI, renal, endocrine. Like, they literally have this book broken down by systems. And that's what I love about it. That's like the easiest way for me to learn. So yeah, that's what I did. And then I went those practice exams that I told y'all and showed y'all in my part 2 of opening my NCLEX results video. I used those. Like, after I went through this book, then I went ahead and I did those practice exams, and that's where I was scoring above average. Again, those exams was included with the HERS. Now, I did not go out and pay additional money for any type of NCLEX review. If you want to do that, then by all means do it. But do I feel that is necessary? Absolutely not. Not if your program has prepared you and you have learned this content. Now, if you get into the end of your program and you feel like you don't know nothing, well, maybe that's a problem, okay? And maybe you do need those review things. But like I said, if you study from day one, you shouldn't have to teach yourself in a nursing program. But if you do, then maybe you should weigh your options. 2, like I said, your school should cover the content that you need, okay? And 3, that 3-day review or live review that you get at the end, whether it's an ATI review, a HERS review, a HES review, I don't know, there's different type of reviews out there, but your school should include a 3-day live review at the end of your program, okay? And then use that to study. And that's how you will that's how you'll pass your NCLEX, essentially. Like, once you get to the end, like, you should be doing like 150 questions a day. Remember I said I would do by subject? And so I was going through like these systems, like in this book, and I was doing 150 questions, like each subject. So by the end of your program, it shouldn't be 150 questions a week. It should be 150 questions a day, okay? And as long as you do that, you will pass your NCLEX, y'all. So yeah, I think this pretty much wraps it up for the NCLEX business. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And yeah, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell for the post notifications, because the videos will be coming frequently and you don't want to miss out, okay? It won't always be nursing, okay? This is all things destiny. So, all right, y'all, I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.